Welcome. You made it to Living Limitless. Play your way to freedom. We are here to connect with you as you awaken and play your way to freedom, your power, and your expansiveness. I am so excited today, and I am Andrea Luzon. I am so excited today to share with you Isabelle Bridges. She is a mama to two beauties, Grace and Benjamin. They are the lights of her life. She's a mother's empowerment coach and best known for helping moms live lives they love with a proven step-by-step strategy called the I Can method. She also facilitates a mothering circle locally in the San Francisco Bay Area and a monthly virtual gathering. One of her biggest struggles as a new mom was finding time for her dreams. Now she feels passionate about helping other mothers find time for theirs. You can learn more about her at isabellebridges.com. Isabel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. In your own words, I would love to learn a little bit more about how you came into this work, what inspires you to stay in the work.
Well, I came into this work because I need it. For me, this is not a luxury. This is not a nice to have. Like, I need to be steeped in self care and personal development. Always have since I was a little girl. So I do this work first and foremost for myself, and then obviously in service of not only the amazing women that I serve, but also just like collectively, um, you know, we go further together than we do alone. So
Yes. Wow. Thank you. That resonates big time. And I know we chatted a bit earlier about just all that's going on in the world and how a lot of people are struggling. And so, on a day to day basis, I know for me, having the kids at home and lots of places I love to go are closed, and we're all kind of stuck together and then also so separate from everyone. So, we're all experiencing some triggers. And I'd love to know a bit about what how do you interpret a trigger? How do you move through a trigger and recommend anything for that to others?
mhm. So the question is, what triggers you?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Let's expand on that.
I get triggered. Something that has really triggered me lately is unmet expectations or unfulfilled
Mm-hmm.
expectations. I'll say in the past, I've just had this. I want things to go the way they're supposed to go, and this thing of like you said, it's like my inner child. She gets righteously angry. She, when the authority says that school's going back in 2 weeks, my inner child is like, school has to go back. That's what the authority said, so it has to happen that way. And she gets frustrated, irritated, then she gets angry, and what's under that is fear, because if the authority figure is not giving accurate information, then who can I trust?
Mm.
And that, again, for that inner child in me, that is a big part of me, it brings up a lot, it triggers fear. So that's like my initial response is like
Mhm.
fear. And then the anger is really a masking of that fear.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
how do you, I mean, I know that oftentimes we just react from that place. It's something that I struggle with, just reacting from that wounded child place. Do you have
Hmm.
any methods that you use to stay in your integrity before blowing the lid?
Well, I knowing that about myself has been uh, the first step in healing, um, because before we know something, it's invisible to us. It's in our blind spot, so we can't deal with it until we acknowledge it first.
Mhm.
And so when it pops up, when the fear pops up, which, man, it's had so many opportunities. The gift of this time is practicing these tools, right? Because the fear in a moment to moment basis is just like right, easily accessible. And so my current practice is, to say, oh, there you are. I see you. Hi. And it's a somatic sensation. So I experience it as like my heart beating really quickly. This like I can even hear it in my voice as I speak it. My voice gets into this like high, resonance,
Yeah.
and I start to spin out a little bit. And oh my God, it's been so helpful to catch the spinning, to realize, oh my gosh, when I'm being swept up in the spin, if I can catch myself and use that as the trigger, like use the spinning as a trigger to come back to stillness.
Yeah.
Because what my coping mechanism has been in the past is to like allow that spinning to gain momentum and to get really busy, to like, oh my God, now I have 10 things to do and I have to do them all. And I cope with fear. That's how I cope with fear, right? I numb out. My drug of choice has been like my to-do list. Because if I have all this stuff to do, I don't have time to sit with the discomfort that is arising, the fear that's arising. And so my practice is to do just that, to stop the doing and to be with what is present and to sit in the mess, in the S word, like to really just let myself be composted.
Yes.
And
Go ahead.
and to not push it away, not numb out.
I am hearing you loud and clear, and you answered a question that I was gearing towards later, which is, what are your practices that keep you in a higher vibration? And I know you recently gave a very vulnerable talk on your mother's empowerment circle, your community on Facebook. And I just was listening to you and I thought you were like reading a ticker tape in my head where you
Yeah.
were talking about when I'm feeling to avoid feeling these emotions, it can be like I could go find extra dishes that need to be done. I could go be like, oh, there's I'll go find article in each basket and be like, oh, there's a load of laundry to do because I'm so busy I can't feel my feelings. I was just
Yeah.
really resonating with that. So I hear you saying that you get out of the doing, and I'd love to talk about bringing in playfulness. And
Yes.
if you are how are you getting out of the doing? How do you stop yourself from picking up more articles of clothing that don't really desperately need to be picked up in that moment? How do you get present?
Um, well, I come first. So I have a phrase, let's put the me back in mommy.
Mm,
So the first thing I do when I wake up is something for me. And I wake up to the often like joyful sounds of my kids. So it's not like I have time in the morning that doesn't include parenting. But I just like I'm bringing my fear along, I'm bringing my kids along with me. And I'm going to meditate in the morning. I'm going to exercise in the morning. I'm going to journal in the morning. And if my kids want to be with me, then they can be with me. And they just have to watch me or join me. So my practice in the morning is I ask myself, not, and this is important, so I want you to hear me, not what needs to be done today, but what do I want to do today? What would be in my joy? What would be in my pleasure to do today? And even if I don't do that thing, um, having that be the first question I ask in my morning pages,
Mm.
it's a reminder that I matter. Like what I want and what is fun for me. And this is like revolutionary for me because until I started this practice, it didn't really occur to me to ask myself, what do I want? I'm all about what does the other person want.
Mhm.
So what often comes up is doing. Like, I want to organize my pantry today, genuinely, though. And it just comes from a different place than I have to organize my pantry. And sometimes I want to, go for a 2 hour long walk by myself, and that could easily also be on the have to do list. So it's not necessarily the thing that shows up, but it's like the feeling behind the thing and
Mm.
the impetus that brings that that brings that up.
I love that. So being intentional instead of just being driven by fear or have tos.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
what you just said brought up for me a couple of weeks ago. What showed up on the page when I asked myself that is, I want to cry.
Mm.
And it's like I don't want to cry. Like, I don't like to cry, but I need it. That's like what I needed. I needed it. And so even though that isn't necessarily an answer to the question, like, what do you do for play or pleasure? Um, Sometimes we need to cross through that in order to get to the other side, you know?
Yeah, I'm definitely hearing just simply asking that question each morning, what do I want? Instead of what does the world want? What does everything else need? But what do I need? And that is really that's really hitting home with me.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning having a nightmare, and it was really intense. It involved my daughter. I was holding my daughter, and we were hiding from something. It was really intense, and I was really in the fear and kind of some overwhelm. There's a little bit of pressure I've been putting on myself lately, and like the bad dream and the pressure just kind of came crashing into my experience laying in bed. And intelligently, I started asking myself, what do I want? What do I want to feel? Who do I want to be
Mhm.
today? And slowly letting that that the bizarre, intense feeling of fear and pressure, just kind of letting that melt off of me. And then I think I drifted off to sleep again for just a few minutes, and then was able to wake up refreshed and not feel like I was panicking.
I just want to like walk through that again because what you did, you acknowledged the yucky feeling
Yeah.
first. And
Mhm.
after the acknowledgement, then you were able to let it go. But I think it's when those things are buried,
Mhm.
when we bury them, or whether it's conscious or unconscious, we can't like take something off or shed something or release it if it's like so deep inside us, you
Yeah.
know? So I love that you were quickly able to let what was happening in your experience like be acknowledged and then easily like taken
Yeah.
into the dreamland.
Thank
Yeah.
you. After the fact, I felt pretty wise. At the moment, I thought, what is happening? I felt like my heart was pressing really, really, really hard on me. And I know that
Yeah.
I've been very inspired with your work and how you're creating community for mothers and this looking within before we look outside of ourselves. And it resonates so deeply with, with what I think our world is really needing right now is people that are ready to go inside before they project outside. I'm just really grateful for your work. It really
Mm,
resonates with me.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would love for our audience members to be able to experience your work on a deeper level. And I know that I would love to open the door for you to share a perk or a gift or some way that they can work with you. And how can we get that?
Okay, so what I want to share with your community is something that I literally just created for myself and then for the women in my community. And I call it the monthly review. And this is rather than work with the months like January, February, March, I like to work with the cycle of the moon. And so rather than a monthly review, this is a monthly review. And I take it out on or near the new moon. And it's an opportunity for me to look back at the last moon cycle. What did I declare? What intentions did I set? What happened? What worked? What didn't work?
Mm.
And then I set new intentions for the coming 28 days. Um, and so it's just a list of questions that you can ask yourself to review the past, be present in this moment, and then project into the future as well.
I love that. So it's a like almost a revising, I don't want to say revising, but a deeper look into where are we and where do we want to go?
And it's an opportunity for us to ask ourselves that question that we were just talking about.
Mhm.
What do I want?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. So I feel as though there is at least one person watching right now who is listening to you, watching you, feeling feeling a vibration like a connection, and that their life can shift exponentially if they take a step closer and and reach out to you and work with you more intimately or join your community. What would you like to say to that person?
Well, hi, I want to say welcome. I look forward to connecting with you, sister. Um, and you can learn more about me and more ways to be in community with me at isabellebridges.com. And then you can find our Facebook group at Mothers Empowerment Circle on Facebook. You just do a little search for it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Well, I look forward to each person who is feeling called to reach out to Isabelle to experience that monthly review, to join her mother's empowerment circle. And Isabelle, I just really want to thank you for your time being so generous today.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And thank you, audience member. Thank you, viewer, for joining me, Andrea Luzon, for Living Limitless. Play your way to freedom. We will see you next time. Yay.